Recorded Books presents I Don't Care If You Like Me, I Like Me. Bernie Mac's Daily Motivational by Bernie Mac and Rhonda R. McCullough. Narrated by Reggie Reg with Rhonda R. McCullough.
Forward. I first met the Mac Man in the early 90s. I was in Chicago watching a new taping of a Comedy Central show being produced by my brother Mark Atkins called Comic Justice. This tall brother walked up to me and said, "What's up, Sinbad?" There was something immediately magnetic about Bernie. He had that big smile and that presence you couldn't help but notice. We started talking about basketball and how he used to play for a semi-pro team owned by a potato chip company. It didn't take long to feel like we were old friends. We immediately connected over our Midwest upbringings. I grew up in a small town in Michigan called Benton Harbor, which is about 90 miles from Bernie's hometown of Chicago. I remember him saying to me, "They're not going to get me in Hollywood, Sinbad. I'm going to be too much for them. I'm bringing that Chicago swag." And that's what he did. Whatever stage he was on, he brought that Chicago swag with him. That's part of what made Bernie so special. Even his name had style. Bernie Mac. It was made for show business. We would trade war stories about working the Chitlin circuit, performing in just about every club there was. When the 90s comedy scene became so hot, they were turning just about everything into a comedy club, a skating rink, a beauty salon. No matter what it was, it became a comedy club. We were road dogs. Bernie, Steve Harvey, John Witherspoon, myself, and so many others. All of us putting in our times and paying dues on the road. These circuits required us to spend a lot of time away from family. Family was important to Bernie, as it was for me. We would share stories about our families and how we had to keep pushing for them. He wasn't just a great comic, but also a good man. Bernie was one of those comics you didn't want to follow because he worked the crowd into such a frenzy. He had a way of building up a crowd, which was an art form. His style was unique and refreshingly honest. He was able to talk about the streets of Chicago and the truth of the Black experience and delivered it on stage in a way that anybody could understand, no matter their color or background. You could always count on Bernie to be unapologetically raw and real, a quality I always have and still admire to this day. So much about him reminded me of Richard Pryor. It was the way he would offer advice and tell stories, and just about everything in his own unorthodox way. He didn't concern himself with whether you understood him or if you got his style of comedy. He wasn't trying to conform to what a comic should be. I would tell him, "Don't change nothing. Just be you." We needed his voice. I remember watching the Kings of Comedy. Bernie was up last after D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, and Cedric the Entertainer. As a comedian, it's a hard job to follow even one funny comic, let alone 3. But Bernie did it with no problem. He didn't just follow, he killed. He destroyed that stage. Who could forget the routine he did about his sister's kids? Coming into the kitchen saying, "I want some milk and cookies." Bernie was fearless. He would look you straight in your eyes, letting the audience know I'm not the one to mess with. When he was on Def Comedy Jam, I saw him do something I've never seen another comic do. He came straight at the audience. He came right out the gate and said, "I ain't scared of you motherfuckers." This was a powerful moment because he was letting them know, you might be a rough crowd, but I don't care. I'm here to put in the work. You gonna listen to me. I'm Bernie Mac, and he meant every word. I know that every comic in the world wishes to this day that they would have said that first. When he was on that stage, he wasn't scared. He wasn't worried. Bernie set the groundwork for a lot of comics that came after him. His boldness and bravery showed people you could be yourself. Don't be scared about being black or where you come from. Talk about it all. He showed us that it doesn't matter what color people are. If you're honest, they'll accept it. I don't think Bernie had a dishonest moment on stage. This carried over into his show. Man, I love that show. It was tough, funny, and real. I loved how he invited us all in. By breaking the fourth wall, he was saying, pay attention, I'm here. Bernie's in the same locker room with Richard Pryor and Red Fox, Robin Williams, George Carlin, and all the greats. He is truly one of the greats in the game. I miss him, and I miss that distinguishable voice and what he had to say. No matter how hard they would try, there will never be another Bernie Mac. Sinbad. Introduction. Let me tell you something. Helping yourself is the best thing you can do. Because if you ain't helping yourself, nobody else is going to be able to do a damn thing for you. Now, speaking of doing it yourself, I got a confession to make. Y'all know I passed away, so this ain't really me talking to y'all. It's more like me talking through some folks that know me, like I know the back of my own goddamn hand. If I'm going to trust somebody to be me, it's going to be them. So just go on, keep imagining it's me. Because this here is the closest thing you're going to get to Bernie Mac. Here we go. I started out a poor black child. Yep, everybody's got a ghetto story. This is mine. I was poor growing up in Chicago in a little apartment above my granddaddy's Baptist church. Holes in my clothes, in my britches, and never a nickel for the ice cream man. But I didn't know any different. As a kid, we always had bologna in the fridge and a roast with chocolate cake on Sunday. My mama would say, don't nobody owe you nothing. She was right. I got my first job when I was a teenager, bagging groceries at the local grocery store. I was the best goddamn bagger they ever had. Everybody wanted me. I made sure their bread didn't get squashed and their eggs didn't crack. And I made them smile. I worked hard my whole life at every job I had. And I ended up doing exactly what I wanted. And making money at it too. I always knew everything you want in life, got to work for it, got to earn it. What did that sentence start with? You. And that means if you got to get yourself out of a slump, make yourself better. You go on and do that first. I'm not some kind of therapist or shrink. Ain't no doctor or playing one on TV. Nothing like that. I'm just a comedian, a father, and a man that knows something about life. And I'm going to tell it like it T.I. is. But there's a way to go about it. Now, me and my wife, Rhonda, we going to make it easy for you to understand. Easy to do. Here's how we're going to do it. We got 12 months chunked up into 4 parts to make it simple to follow, easy to understand, and even easier to implement. Here we go. Part 1, all about you. January, February, March. Fight your own fight.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.